Hey, what's up, guys? It's Motoxiety, and today I'm going to be doing an oil change on my 2024 Triumph Street Triple R. Okay, so the first thing that you guys are going to notice here on this Triumph is it does not have a traditional oil bolt like you would see on some of your other bikes. It actually has what looks like a Torx bit down here. So I did not know about that. I'm just finding that out now. I thankfully do have the Torx bits I need, or like an Allen key style thing, but I will let you guys know the size of it when I figure out which one it is. But just so you guys know, on the 2024 Triumph Street Triple models, it does not have a traditional bolt. It is actually a Torx style bolt, which is interesting. But this is your oil drain, so let me find the proper bolt and then we'll get to draining this thing. All right, so it is a T50 Torx bolt. At least that's the one that feels like it's gonna fit. Thankfully I had one on hand, but if you do have the 2024 model, you're gonna need this T50 Torx bit. Let me just zoom in on it here for you guys so you can see what it looks like. There you go. And that's what it looks like on the top. That's gonna fit inside that bolt and help me back it out, so. All right, so as I'm doing this, I'm gonna use a bit of an extension. I have this long extension on my wrench here. You don't really need it, but I'm going to use this to break this bolt free. But you don't have to use it. I'm just using it to make it a little bit easier for me to break this bolt because it is kind of stuck in there. It's new. It's torqued down to spec. This is, again, the first time I'm doing this oil change. So for this first oil change, I am going to use this because it was a little tight in there. And then for the second one, obviously I will have hand tightened this, so it will not be as tight in there. I think whoever put this in here used a power tool probably, but there you go. That's what you're gonna do to loosen up this bolt and drain your oil out of there. That's gonna be your first step for doing this oil change. You wanna drain the oil out. All right, so the bolt is broken free now. So I have my oil pan right here, and I am just going to back this out all the way and let the oil drain from the bike. And after I let the oil drain from the bike, I'm gonna show you a real quick trick to help it drain a little bit faster. And we can put some new oil in this. We can change the oil filter, and then she should be good to go ride because it is a gorgeous day outside and I wanna do some riding. So really you're just gonna get this little Torx bolt in there. I already have it broken free, so that's why it's let me do it hand tight. So let me do it with my hand. You just wanna do it until she comes out, just a little bit. I'm gonna do it with my fingers now. You're gonna get oil all over your hands, but that's part of the job. There you go. So it does not look like whoever put this on here put a ring around this. Usually there is a ring on this bolt. I don't know, it's a little bit out of focus. Usually there is some kind of like little oil ring to keep everything sealed. It doesn't look like there was one in here, which is curious. It might be stuck to the actual engine block. It looks like it might be. Yeah, it might be stuck on there. But usually for my first oil change, and you guys can judge me for this, I do not change that ring. It usually doesn't leak, but I usually will not change the ring, and on the second one I'll change it. So I'm just gonna let all that drain out. When you're draining it too, here's a little trick. Once you start getting some of it out, you can go ahead to the top of the bike where you fill the oil. Let me just get my hand clean real quick. And just go ahead like this. I don't want to get any dirt and debris in here. You unscrew where you fill the oil, and that should help it drain a little bit quicker because you're letting that air in. And there we go. Look at that. Honestly, it's a good color. I don't see, it's a little sparkly, but this is the first oil change. So I don't see any metal shavings or anything alarming in here. You kind of want to look out for that. There was also old oil in this pan, which is something I try to not do. There is dirt and old oil in this pan, just so anything that comes out of the block on the first oil change, I will notice right away, but I used a dirty pan for this. But if you're doing your first oil change, you may want to use a nice clean pan just to make sure whatever you see floating around in this oil did not come out of your engine block. Because we don't want anything floating in there. But it really, this oil looks really clean, looks really good. Like I said, it's a little shiny, but it's a brand new engine, brand new motor. So it's gonna have, you know, tiny little flakes of metal in there. That's not anything super bad. But if you see big chunks coming out, obviously that's a problem. And you know, you just want to be cognizant of that. On the second oil change is where if it keeps happening, maybe there might be a problem, but first oil change, I'm not too alarmed by that. So, all right, let's let the rest of the bike drain and then we'll fill it up. All right, cool. So it looks like all of the oil from the bike has drained out. We're still getting a little drips here and there, but what I just did was I took the bike and I put it right side up because it's leaning on the stand right now. I just kind of righted it up and let the rest of it drip out, just to make sure we got all of it. But there's still a little bit dripping, that's fine. I'm gonna wipe it off with a paper towel, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the drain plug back inside this hole. That way when we fill up the bike, nothing comes out. So once you're done draining your oil, put your drain plug back in, and we can start the fill up process. Well, we're gonna take our oil filter out, but then we can start the fill up process. Okay, so that Torx bolt is back in. Before I said that the little oil ring was not on there, it actually was. It was just stuck to the block, but there you go. So you can see it. When I touched it, I realized that it was still on there. So the oil ring was there. Everything was right. But like I said, I do not change that oil ring on the first one. On the second one, I will though. All right, now we're onto the oil filter side of the bike. You can see the oil filter right here. It's got a Triumph oil filter on it. The oil filter is over top of the exhaust though. So I just put this aluminum foil on top of the exhaust for now to keep it from getting all over the exhaust. It's fine if it gets on your exhaust. It's not gonna do anything, but it is gonna, when the exhaust gets hot, all that oil is gonna burn off, and it's not a pleasant smell. It, you know, gets a little smoky, so I figured it's better if I just put this aluminum foil on there for today's drain. I might add a little bit more over here. We're gonna move this a little bit farther underneath. We're gonna go ahead and pop this oil filter off. All right, so she's draining out right now from the oil filter. There is quite a bit of oil in there. I just wanna show you guys too, this oil filter was super stuck on there. You can see it's all torn up. That is from, let me put this down real quick. That is from this right here. I actually had to use a oil filter tool to get this oil filter off. Again, it is the first oil change, so I'm not surprised that it was stuck on there good, but just so you guys are aware, if you're doing your first oil change, you may need a oil filter tool. I just have this little Hyper Tough one. Just make sure that it can fit all the way around your oil filter. They're small, so you should be able to get it, but if you get one of these, just make sure it'll fit between this right here and it'll fit on your oil filter tool. But let me show you the oil filter again. Here is the old oil filter. Coming off, it got this ring here that keeps it sealed torn up, so I wouldn't use this again anyways, but if I was gonna use it again, you just wanna make sure that it's not torn up like that. It's not. And then this is the new oil filter that I got. It is a K&N oil filter. Their performance oil filter was about $19 at AutoZone. Kind of on the pricier side, but this is the number for it. And it actually has on the top of it a bolt for unscrewing it, so it should make it a little bit easier to take this one off. But I'm gonna go ahead, screw this oil filter on, and then we should be good to fill it up. Okay, so the super nice thing about this oil filter is it has that little nub on it that fits a 17mm wrench like I showed you. And once you get it hand tight on here, you can just kind of go ahead and tighten her up with the wrench. You don't want to do it too tight, you just want it hand tight. There you go, that's probably about good right there. I don't want to overdo it because you don't want to ruin that seal. And one of the things that I couldn't show you guys when I had this new oil filter off was I took a little bit of this old oil and I rubbed it around the ring part of this new oil filter just to help build that seal with the bike. So I did. You can see there's a little bit of oil that got on the exhaust. That's fine. We're gonna go ahead, fill her up. I think it takes about 3.5 quarts of oil. I'll show you the oil that I got for it. We'll fill her up and we'll get to riding. Okay, cool. So this is what I got for the bike. I got Mobil 1 Racing 4T. That's for the 4-stroke engines. Make sure that you have this 4T on there when you are doing a motorcycle oil change, because that is for 4-stroke engines. That is the kind of engine that you have for your motorcycle, more than likely, unless you have like a 2-stroke or something like that. But it does need to specify 4T and show a little motorcycle down here. I got 10W40, Mobil 1 again. So it takes about 3.5 quarts. Over here is where we're gonna fill it up. So we're gonna go ahead and fill it up, and I will show you guys how to check that oil level afterwards. We have our funnel ready to take oil into the bike. We're gonna put about 3.5 quarts of oil into the bike. Just a little side note too, guys, with the funnels, just make sure that you clean them out beforehand. I know I leave mine in my garage, so it gets super dirty. There's a lot of dust and dirt and stuff built up. You don't wanna push that stuff into your engine. So just make sure you go ahead and clean out your funnel before you dump oil into it, and then possibly whatever contaminants are inside of this funnel into your bike, because that is a no-no. You don't want that. But I'm gonna go ahead, put the 3.5 quarts in here, and then we should be good to ride. All right, so I wrapped everything up on the bike. Everything is good. Everything's tightened down. I'm gonna go ahead and give the bike a run real quick. Let it run, see if anything drips out. Everything should be nice and tightened up and good to go, but you just wanna make sure before you go and ride away that everything is nice and tightened up. She's filled up to where she needs to be. The nice thing on these bikes is they actually have a oil dipstick on them, which my Ninja 400 does not have. Your oil dipstick is down here, guys. You just gotta give it a little screw. Go ahead, unscrew it, pull her up, and there you go. You can, oh, where's the camera? You can check her like that. There you go. That's your little oil dipstick. It's down all the way at the bottom of the bike, right there, if you see it. I'm gonna go ahead and screw it back in. But yeah, you just gotta unscrew it. Nice gentle screw back in. And she's good. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, comment down below what kind of bike you have and what kind of oil change you're planning to do. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.